Hey everyone, I'm Olga Yaroshevsky. Welcome to AIBC Podcast, where we talk about all cool things tech, artificial intelligence, and blockchain. I'm very happy to be joined today by our good friend Marcello Mari, an absolute OG in artificial intelligence. Hi, Marcello.
Ciao, Ola. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here.
Pleasure.
So, okay, please tell everyone who you are, what you do, and how did you find yourself in AI? How did you get here?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So, who am I? I'm Italian, right? Born in Italy a few years ago, and then came to Dubai in 2020. One of those COVID immigrants into Dubai for several reasons. Dubai was very attractive, and my co-founder was already here, so I decided to join, and then I find a very fertile ground here to grow and to start my own company in 2021, which at that time was SingularityDAO, which was the first company that actually pioneered the intersection between artificial intelligence and decentralized finance. And funny enough, at that time, I called it AI DeFi because I thought it made sense. While now, 5 years later, it became one of the major trends, but they call it DeFi. I mean, nobody knows how to pronounce it, but it's like
DEFAI?
Yeah, correct.
Okay,
and nobody knows how to pronounce that. And then that's why I thought that AI DeFi would make more sense. DeFi is just, I don't know, it's very cacophonic to me. So anyway, so that was 2021. But in 2017, so in 2016 actually, I was living in London. I've been 7 years in London. And then I decided that I was a little bit fed up with the rat race in London. I was like, this is too much. Everything is too competitive. It's competitive to get a seat on the underground, to rent a place, to find tickets for a show, to go to the restaurant. I'm like, I'm done. So I was editorial director of a tech startup back then. We were publishing books for celebrities, including the Pope. I wrote the biography of several famous footballers. But then, long story short, I was fed up. So I decided to to take everything that I could pack into a backpack and to go on a world tour by myself, my first solo trip. And I did a TED talk to tell about my experience of digital nomad. At that time, it was cool to be a digital nomad. I was obviously way younger.
Well, it still is. I think, for what it's worth.
I think now, I mean, it has a different connotation, right? It's just too many of them. And but anyway, so I decided to go on a world tour, and during this world tour, I met Simone Giacomelli, who actually I met before in Italy during an event, KinderNet DLD, and at that time, like I'm trying to tell the story of how all the coincidences brought me eventually to be in blockchain, right? So at that time, Simone broke up with his girlfriend at that time, and he was living in Australia. He come and meet me, and he's like, bro, we need to do something in blockchain. There are ICOs now. Let's find something to do in blockchain. It's going to be the next Meta. And I'm like, I don't know.
When
I'm
was
not
that?
sure.
Which year?
2016.
16, okay, yeah.
Yeah, in 2016. At that time, I didn't know much about Bitcoin. I wrote an article in 2014 for Wired. But I just scratched the surface. I didn't understand it back then. I didn't understand the power of Bitcoin and blockchain. But anyway, so he insisted, and I'm like, no, I'm not really interested. And after 8 months traveling by myself, I'm like, this is time to go back to Italy, to settle back in Italy. I had an offer from a fairly large Italian startup in Sicily. So I thought to myself, I'm gonna move to Sicily, cut the grass on Sunday, get a Sicilian wife, settle.
It sounds a little bit Godfather Part 2. Sorry.
In tech.
Part 1, no, sorry, not Part 2. Part 2 was Vegas, okay.
Yeah, exactly. They come back. And I thought that would have been my life. And Simone convinced me that if I would have done that, I would have eventually, get depressed. So he insisted, and he went to Hong Kong where he met with David Hanson and Ben Gorzo. David Hanson is the manufacturer that created Sophia, and Ben Gorzo is the person. Hanson Robotics, correct?
Yes.
Great people. And Ben is the guy that created the artificial intelligence Sophia. Back then, he was working at the open source framework called OpenCog for AI to AI interactions. So when Simone joined them, together, David, Simone, and Ben conceptualized SingularityNET, and it seemed obvious that blockchain was the perfect technology to allow what Ben envisioned to be a decentralized network for AI agents in 2017. Although blockchain was extremely premature, we only had Ethereum, we barely had stable coins, very few centralized exchanges. Long story short, Simone phoned me up and he said, you really need to join this project, it's going to be huge, join, and I still was resisting. Then I did my due diligence and I asked a few people around and they said, no, these people are very legit, you should give it a go. So I scratched the contract that I had with the Italian company, they got very upset, and I joined SingularityNET. The Italian company shut down after 1 year. SingularityNET became one of the largest projects in crypto.
Powerhouses, yeah.
Powerhouse.
Globally.
And I joined the great, it was a fantastic narrative, and AI and blockchain extremely fascinating. I joined a team of geniuses. I think I was employee number 3 or 4 after the founding team. So, I consider myself part of the founding team after the founders. So, sliding doors, like sometime like intuition and last minute decision can actually brings big changes and big improvements. So that's how I got in blockchain eventually.
Okay, so artificial intelligence and blockchain, how do these two go together? Because sometimes, let's say I remember when we had a panel on quantum computing, right? And it's a rocket science for most of the people. AI, even several years ago, was a rocket science. People wouldn't understand. Yeah, they were seeing Sophia, they were seeing some, science fiction movies and the old school books dating several decades ago, And then now we're using ChatGPT, we're using DeepSeek, we're using Gemini. AI is part of our lives. Where is this intersection of artificial intelligence and blockchain? How does that work, and what does that mean for business?
Okay, let's try. It's a broad question. Let's go through.
Let's start with how do these two go together?
Yeah, sure.
And then we can go to the business applications, the actual help to scale one's business.
Sure. So there are 2 aspects, right? One is what AI can do for blockchain, and the other is what blockchain can do for AI.
Okay.
So the way that I believe any business in the world needs AI and eventually will use AI, from tech businesses, but even like your bakery or your grocery store. They already use AI, right? Look at Amazon checkout shops, Amazon stores. Carrefour uses AI, and any business in the world will use AI, let alone blockchain-related business. Now, back to what Saker was saying earlier, I don't know if you can mention, but blockchain itself doesn't yet employ AI. There are some blockchains that use AI, like Algorand, for example. The randomized selection of blocks is based on an algorithm. So there is a lot of improvement that AI can bring to blockchain. But what I'm mostly interested in is what blockchain can do for AI. So something that somebody made me realize is that if you go to any blockchain event, there is always an AI section or an AI
always.
segment.
True.
If you go to an AI event, there is never a blockchain.
Never a blockchain. That's a good point, by the way. Yeah, true.
Recently, I spoke at Leap, which is the world's largest tech AI event. I was the only crypto guy. I was
Really?
I was the crypto infiltrator. And when I was talking about the intersection of blockchain and AI, they were jaw dropping. They were really, what can we do in blockchain and AI? So it's a hot topic that AI entrepreneurs and AI people are starting to explore right now. Now, what can we do? So I'll give you my vision of the future. Of course, there is a lot more, but what I'm particularly interested right now is the agentic AI field, right? So anytime we use a large language model right now, we are training an algorithm, right? And this algorithm is centralized. Centralization means that the data belong to the company that makes the algorithm. So if we really want to develop the most important technologies that humankind ever created, which is AGI, which, by the way, is coming closer than we would have
Oh,
eventually.
wait, let's get there. Let's get there.
Exactly. So let's get there later. We want to talk about it now, or shall we save it for later?
We'll save it for later.
Yeah, okay, because we're going... I understand, sorry.
Yeah.
My vision, for example, agentic AI. So a swarm of AI agents, independent and autonomous AI agents, right, created by thousands of AI developers all around the world. These AIs need to communicate with each other. CZ famously said recently, I've been saying that for many years, but it's better if CZ said it, that crypto is the currency for AI. So AI to AI communication and AI to AI transactions need to happen on the blockchain, and that's the only mean that it can happen. It can happen still on a centralized database, but if you want to attach a monetary value to transaction between AIs, it needs to be crypto-related. Simply like, before we can get AI as a bank account, how long it's going to take? It might not even ever happen, to be honest. Banks are never going to be willing to open a bank account for AIs. But on crypto, you can open a wallet for an AI agent, and the AI agents can operate the transactions. And I'm pretty sure that very soon, and I'm already working with the team on it, we're going to be able to give access to crypto wallets to AI. Now, the problem there is security related. What if the agent fails and sends millions? Do something stupid with this wallet. So that's something that needs to be tackled, and we are working on. AI hallucination can lead to very stupid actions by an agent. So in my vision of the future, we are going to have our own AI. Okay, that's very simple. It's going to happen very soon. When people say that any enterprise in the world will have and use AI agents, I say every enterprise in the world will become eventually an AI agent. Mark Andreessen or Ben Horowitz, I'm not entirely sure, one of the two, famously said, software will lead the world. I say AI agents will lead the world. Every software will become an AI agent. So in my vision of the future, we're going to have our own AI agent that will interact with Spotify will be an AI agent. Uber will be an AI agent. Airbnb will be an AI agent. Your fridge will be an AI agent. All of this will interact with each other and will interact with you, who are the core source of the data that this AI agent will use. This interaction can only happen, to me, in my vision, on a decentralized ledger that allows full interoperability, and then needs to be the blockchain. It has to be the blockchain. So instead of us paying $10 a month to Spotify for a subscription, Spotify will send tokens to our AI agent. This token will be burned, increasing the value of Spotify's holding and Spotify's itself. And the same thing every time they transact between different agents. So, I don't know, Uber would like to know what kind of music you like to listen to, therefore they will interact with your Spotify. And in that interaction, there will be a token exchange, and this will happen to the blockchain. Everything encrypted on the blockchain. So the data will always remain with the data owner.
Is any of this happening right now?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay. Again, I'm working with another team.
Because the agents are not developed or sophisticated enough, or because of the adoption by enterprises?
So the adoption by enterprises, right?
Okay.
So before we convince Spotify to become or to create an AI agent, it's going to take a while. And if you think about, there is only a handful of people, maybe not a handful of people, but less than 2,000 people around the world that are able to develop AI agent to certain standards. So there is an army of kids in training right now that will develop AI agents. That's why I'm so bullish on this narrative, right? It's going to be extremely decentralized. Right now, I'm working with a team on wrapping businesses, APIs, around an AI agent, and we created a sort of like AI representation of ourselves that works as a butler. So we speak with our AI agent and task it to order at McDonald's, for example, or to book a trip for us. And the AI agent will do it for you and then get the final approval and you send the transaction. So it's complicated technology. It requires a lot of different layers and smart contracts. But, it's interesting. So far we made good progresses and potentially we're going to have some interesting results in 3 to 4 months. So I deviated a little bit from the original question. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I really like the future that you're drawing right now in front of us. So that will hopefully happen. So now back to the actual usage of AI, let's say today, or maybe in the next couple years. Let's say I'm a business owner. I run a business in, I don't know, in tech, in crypto, in e-commerce, in marketing, in gaming. How do I use AI? Do I need to call you, or do I need to hire myself a machine learning expert? Do I acquire an LLM? Do I build my own LLM? Do I get an AI agent?
Yeah. I mean, it always depends on the scope of what you want to do. But I'll give you an example. And here we're talking about pure centralized AI, right? Right now, I was talking to one of the developers I'm working with, and he gave me a timeline for the development of an MVP, and I'm like, dude, it doesn't make sense. I mean, you're never gonna be able to develop so much in 6 months. And he was telling me, like, look, now with AIs, you can speed up and get to fast prototyping in literally like 1 month. What before was taking me 9 months to develop, now I can do it in 1 month. All the UX is completely streamlined and can be done by LLMs. There are specialized LLMs almost for every stage of the development process. You have Copilot that helps you coding. And I was astonished. I mean, I think this is the first time that I'm building a startup, like, with a developer that uses AI, that we have the tool in order to develop so much technology. So in tech, AI adoptions is a must. In marketing, it's a must, right? I mean, every content generation, image generation, video editing. So it can speed up any development process, any marketing process, can create marketing plans. So clearly using LLMs, now it's embedded in every single business. Now, I'll give you another example. OpenAI has recently launched in the United States, and I can't wait to test it, a model called the Operator. The Operator is a large language model that is fully integrated with several different APIs. Okay. I saw an example of the Operator that was tasked to create a small online business, and it did it completely autonomously and independently, right? So the Operator went on Facebook. In this case, the example was a pizza oven. He went and bought a pizza oven from China, I think. And then he compared the same pizza oven brand and the same specific to a marketplace in the United States. He went and looked at the expedition and import cost. He bought the pizza oven, imported to the US, resell it on Facebook Marketplace in the US, and made a profit of $500. Everything completely without human supervision.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's insane.
This is insane. Like, it's unbelievable. I have a small brand that I'm doing with a friend. We're selling cat shampoo on Amazon.
It's just we touch.
It's just for fun. I'm doing advertising.
But now you have a cat yourself, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
That's
why I need to test it, right? And so before I was paying an Amazon marketing agency, right? Okay. And what the Amazon marketing agency, they A/B test different images on your listing. They prepare the listing. They prepare an advertising campaign. They A/B test different advertising campaign. The whole thing can be done with ChatGPT now, with the Operator. Like, completely. It even replies to customer. It sends email reply to customer. It start collecting leads. It create databases. It message people on Facebook. It's fairly unbelievable. It does the A/B testing and see which images are performing better. So, to answer your question, what can be done in e-commerce? This can be done in e-commerce. What can be done by tech businesses, streamlining every single processes. Now we can create complex workflows that are basically autonomous. And with agentic AI, agentic AI is basically a 3 months old narrative, maybe a little more. We're talking about October, November. So a lot of projects that are developing right now, I see, there's an infrastructure that we are building, which is ELISA OS and different other frameworks that are currently getting more and more adoption. But, there is also like a company called Griffin, which recently completed the first AI to AI interaction on the blockchain. So an agent autonomously bought coffee beans by another agent created specifically for a coffee reseller company somewhere in the States, I don't know. And the agent paid the other agent on the blockchain, on the Solana blockchain.
It's happening, right?
It's happening.
It's happening.
It's happening. Of course, I mean, it's not as easy as it sounds, because in this case, it was created custom and just for the sake of the demonstration.
Mm-hmm.
So create something like at scale and autonomous is not going to be easy. It requires a lot of cross collaboration between different teams, and again, people that know how to develop agents at a certain level are not many, and especially finding those that have cross, that understands both AI and blockchain, it's even more difficult.
I was about to ask you, because you mentioned, I mean, that's an obvious case. There are only a few people out there that have this, experience, expertise, that are able to develop these things. Doesn't that mean that this thing is super centralized, first of all, monopolized, or these people are generally, aimed at serving the humanity and solving the tech issues and not keeping everything for themselves? Or is there like another generation of, let's say, AI builders coming? Or we don't need that generation because AI is going to actually rebuild itself eventually? Because it's a very, very small community.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, Let's say with crypto, our goal is mass adoption. Our goal is for more people to start using their wallets, exchanging like peer-to-peer transactions, more people using crypto. Whether with AI, is that the goal? I mean, I'm not sure. That's why I'm asking you, because it's a very, very small, I would say maybe elite community out there. Even at AI conferences, you don't get crypto people, as you mentioned,
Exactly.
And it's like you can't sit with us,
Yeah.
It sounds like that. Is that the case?
But look, it is changing. So first of all, AI talents have always been scarce. Okay, it's always been difficult, and historically they've been absorbed by big tech. Now it's changing. So first of all, AI has become more mainstream. So it gained more interest by young kids entering university and engineering schools. It's become easier, right? There's a lot of no-code tools out there. To create your personal AI right now, it's super easy. And to create your
that's my point. It's like you have the meme coins launchpad now in Telegram,
something like that,
right?
yeah,
and
it's gonna happen.
Yeah, so you don't have to be
Yeah.
a developer to launch your own coin
Exactly.
or token. So it's the same situation,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. There are no-code tools that are extremely easy to use. That allows you also to tokenize your own agent if you want to keep it centralized. I'm recently playing with me.fun, which is still in closed beta, but super interesting. You can just program your own personality on an agent. You can do an agent for basically anything. So that's why I envision a new army of kids, that are all going to create their agents.
Okay.
And not. I believe that eventually, the general intelligence will come, the artificial general intelligence will come from this swarm of independently created agents. And these agents will eventually, interact with each other in a decentralized way. So while big tech will absorb more and more, will try to absorb more and more talent, I see a new generation of kids that doesn't really care about working for big tech.
Yeah.
It's not like before. It's not like the dream of a
different
career
mindset,
to work for Google.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a different mindset, as you said.
It's a different mindset. I know. I have this generation
Yeah,
in my house.
TikTok generation will save us eventually.
They think differently. It's a
Yeah.
completely different people, but so amazing. I love them.
Yeah, sure. No, I mean, I always said I always said that my goals in life were, number one, not to work from an office, number two, not to have a boss, and number three, not to having to work. So I think from our generation onwards, kids have realized the beauty of being independent, of independent work. So like everything has a cycle. Big tech has a cycle. The new Google would be different. I don't want to make speculations, but it would be decentralized. That's what I'm gonna see.
Yes, preach decentralization.
Yeah.
All right, AGI.
Distributed.
Let's go.
AGI, I saw something yesterday. They say AGI in 2027. It's possible.
Seriously, so soon? Okay.
I mean, then it gets, on what it means, how do we define AGI? What is AGI, right? And many people see intelligence in ChatGPT. I don't necessarily see cognitive capabilities in. I mean, it's almost as if is intelligent, right? But we don't have yet cognitive capabilities within the algorithm. It's still a language model, right? Mm-hmm. It's still a model based on language, not reasoning. So Ben once said that the more powerful GPT doesn't have any more chances to lead us to AGI than a faster car has more chances to lead us to the moon. They're just different technologies. I think we need to combine different artificial intelligence techniques in order to get to actual AGI. So that's why I think maybe 2027 is too early to have a general intelligence with human level capabilities, but we're gonna have probably a powerful enough GPT that would resemble human intelligence as close as possible. And then I give few more years for this swarm of AI agents to become smart enough to eventually lead us to AGI. I'm bullish on neurosymbolic AI, for example. Our friend Angelo has been working on neurosymbolic AI for quite some time. So perhaps that would be the best way to get to AGI. We don't know, and eventually nobody does. Nobody knows. But we're close to something that looks like AGI, which is very exciting.
It's very exciting.
Personalized assistant that we can talk to on a daily basis. I talk to ChatGPT as if it was intelligent. I pretend, it's almost as if I want ChatGPT to be intelligent, but I do the same thing with my cat. So, we like to see humanity in things that are not necessarily human anyway. It's a bias.
This is in our nature. What's your go-to favorite AI application that you use? Okay, maybe not even one. 5?
No, I do most of what I need to do through OpenAI. Again, it's weird to say, but it's not that I developed. Okay, I don't want to make it sound so weird. It's not that I developed an attachment, but somewhat like it's the AI that I've been using since the beginning. So for me, it feels like I tested R1 and I'm like, no, it's not as good. I tested Gemini and it's not as good. I tested Grok and I'm like, whatever. Why do I need to use Grok when I have OpenAI, when I have ChatGPT? So I'm kind of loyal to ChatGPT and I use a lot of custom GPT to do different things, to make presentations, to make online content. So I would say that ChatGPT is the number one real AI application that I use, and then AI is embedded in everything that I do, and even when I take pictures, I use AI. I recently tested Apple Intelligent. And again, it's not as good as ChatGPT. So right now, right now what I use the most is OpenAI ChatGPT, and I think is so far still unrivaled. And I'm very bullish to see what the operator can come out with, and I'm definitely going to be testing it, and definitely going to try to run several businesses using the operator.
Should it be regulated, the AI? I know it's a sensitive question when it comes to AI regulation. Still so much uncertainty.
Yeah.
What's your take there?
I think we can. I think AI should definitely be regulated. I think AI companies should be forced to disclose the data that they've been training with. Imagine if LLMs would have been developed under Nazi Germany. It would have been a very completely LLM. It would have completely different values, would give you different answers. So what I'm saying is the cultural bias of LLMs, it's something that we need somewhat to address. And the only way to address it is at the source by having transparency on the data that these LLMs are training with. Currently, if you ask ChatGPT where did it learn about a certain topic, ChatGPT wouldn't be able to give the answer because they don't disclose the data. It's extremely, OpenAI is extremely closed AI, as Elon says. So it definitely needs to be regulated. The problem is that for the first time in history, the human race is creating something more powerful than ourselves. And it's the first time in history that an entity, a living entity, creates something more powerful than itself. You know, it's almost like we're playing as God, and we're creating a superior God. So try to regulate that. You know, God is going to be extremely challenging. So in a way, right now, I think the best way is to have visibility and to work together on how to regulate AI. But then, of course, humans are not perfect, and I think it's going to be a struggle to coordinate all these different groups to actually come out with effective regulations. And you know, the current approach of Silicon Valley, when I hear Sam Altman speak, it reminds me of Michelangelo in a way. Michelangelo was saying that he wasn't sculpting the statue out of the marble block. He was actually allowing the statue to come out. It was just, you know, removing the extras. And Sam Altman, it seems the same. It's like, well, you know, somebody had to create AGI. It just happened to be me. But it might go wrong. Yes, there is a possibility, but what can I do? Says, dude, no, you can't do. You know, like you are the guy that is making it. And in this approach of like typical from Silicon Valley of move fast and break things. So we do it, and then eventually we regulate it. Or we created this potential monster, and now government, please help us stopping it. I think it's not the correct approach. But you know, what else can you do? I mean, like, you know, when they did the petition to try to stop AI development, you know, it could have been a good thing, but it didn't make any sense because how do you get everybody on board? It's like stopping a watch to try to stop time. Doesn't make sense. So eventually, you know, if you're working together as a community globally to create AGI, eventually AGI will be able to regulate itself, and that's, I think, is the best possible outcome. But we need to work together on it right now and start thinking on how this regulation will look like, and eventually the AGI will support us on that. Yeah.
Here's to the brightest future.
Yes.
Us and AI and blockchain working all together.
Yeah, decentralized. Yes,
okay.
Of course.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being with me.
Thank you.
And I hope to see you at all AIBC events real soon. And let's keep let's keep being the AI prophet.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. It was Olga Yaroshevsky and Marcello Mari for AIBC Podcast. Please stay tuned for more episodes of our podcast, all things exciting about artificial intelligence and blockchain. I'll see you soon.